The historic Tucker Carlson interview with Putin took place on February 8, 2024, and was the first time a Western journalist had sat down with the Russian president since the invasion of Ukraine. The interview was conducted by Tucker Carlson, a former Fox News host known for his controversial opinions and right-wing views. However, the interview was not a victory for Putin. Putin quickly became a funny meme on social media. Tucker Carlson started the interview with a simple question as to why Russia invaded Ukraine, and Putin went on a half-an-hour lecture about Russian history. This perplexed Tucker Carlson and American viewers. Putin's lecture had little to do with the current war in Ukraine. Funny memes started to flood the X platform.
February 22nd, 2022, you addressed your country in a nationwide address when the conflict in Ukraine started. And you said that you were acting because you had come to the conclusion that the United States, through NATO, might initiate a, quote, surprise attack on our country. And to American ears, that sounds paranoid. Tell us why you believe the United States might strike Russia out of the blue. How did you conclude that?
It's not that America, the United States, was also...
One hour later.
That was quite an interview. It began in a way I didn't expect at all. I'm still thinking it through. This just happened, so my thoughts are inchoate. But I asked him, of course, the obvious question, which is, why did you move against Ukraine 2 years ago, February 2022? And he had said that he felt a physical threat from NATO within Ukraine, and he was worried they were going to bring nuclear weapons into Ukraine, et cetera, et cetera. So I asked him about that. He launched into, well, you'll see it, but an extremely detailed history going back to the 9th century of the formation of Russia from the tribes into a nation, and Ukraine's part in that, and the Rus, and I was annoyed, and I thought, look, first of all, I'm American, so I asked you a specific question. I want a specific answer. Let's go. And he wouldn't. And I thought, and so I pushed him, and he got annoyed, and I was annoyed, and I thought he was filibustering, and maybe he was to some extent. But I concluded after watching all this, no, that was his answer, or that was the predicate to his answer. The history of the area and the formation of his country and the connection to Ukraine is like the basis, or part of the basis, for his Ukraine policy. So
the memes are about Tucker Carlson asking Putin a simple question and then Putin giving a funny response about some random historical event. Like this one, Mr. Putin, why did you invade Ukraine? Putin's response, 4 billion years ago, the Earth was in its cooling phase. One of the only good points Putin brings up is that America is wasting too much time in Ukraine and not focused on its $34 trillion debt and horrible border control.
Do the United States need this? What for? Thousands of miles away from your national territory. Don't you have anything better to do? You have issues on the border, issues with migration, issues with the national debt. More than $33 trillion. You have nothing better to do, so you should fight in Ukraine? Wouldn't it be better to negotiate with Russia? Make an agreement, already understanding the situation that is developing?
In a shocking press conference the other night, President Biden exposed how bad his dementia has gotten. In the press conference, Biden was trying to explain that he remembers his son's death, but couldn't recall how his son had passed away, and then forgot why he was even talking about his son's death. The whole press conference was a total mess. Many are now calling on Biden to step down because of his memory issues.
There's even reference that I don't remember when my son died. How in the hell dare he raise that? Frankly, when I was asked the question, I thought to myself, it wasn't any of their damn business. Let me tell you something. Some of you have commented, I wear since the day he died, every single day, the rosary he got from Our Lady of... Every Memorial Day we hold a service remembering him, attended by friends and family and the people who loved him. I don't need anyone to remind me when he passed away or if he passed away. Simple truth is I sat for a 5-hour interview over 2 days of events going back 40 years. At the same time I was managing an international crisis, their task was to make a decision about whether to move forward with charges in this case.
I'm not really sure what Biden was talking about, but in this next clip, Biden confuses the southern border with Mexico with the Gaza border. I don't know if Biden is talking about Israel and Gaza or the southern border with Mexico. This is a president in rapid decline.
As you know, initially, the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate to allow humanitarian material to get in. I talked to him. I convinced him to open the gate. I talked to Bibi to open the gate on the Israeli side. I've been pushing really hard to get humanitarian assistance into Gaza. There are a lot of innocent people who are starving, a lot of innocent people who are in trouble and dying, and it's got to stop. Number one.
Sticks, Hex, and Hammer 666 said that the Biden press conference was one of the craziest things he's seen in modern politics. No one has ever seen a president in such bad shape.
This is one of the worst things that I've seen in modern politics. He turns on the tears for Beau Biden, unprompted, because it has nothing to do with what he's discussing. He never once actually addresses the document scandal or the DOJ report that effectively, and I will be reporting on this tomorrow, the DOJ report effectively says, well, we can't really prosecute him because he's a tired, sad old man who doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He's got memory problems, so we're not going to prosecute him. That's pretty much literally in the filings, by the way. That's not an exaggeration. You can look it up for yourself. I'll be talking about it tomorrow again. He goes off, he appears to conflate the president of Mexico with the president of Egypt at some point, Sisi. So he doesn't know even who's leading Mexico, and he goes off into a diatribe in there. It's not exactly clear what he's even talking about. He's just all over the goddamn place. Clearly damage control. He was trotted out here. He was given his CIA super drugs to try to clean him up so that he could make a coherent sentence. Unfortunately, they failed on the dosage.
Joe Rogan's new Spotify deal allows him to be on other platforms. He announced the other night that his podcast is now back on the Apple app. He also mentioned that his podcast will soon be back on YouTube. That does it for today's newscast. I hope everyone has a fantastic day, and remember to laugh once in a while.